Hello everybody and welcome to another Valentine's Day card tutorial. We're going to be painting two different cards today, so let's go ahead and start with the first one. We're going to be painting a gemstone heart. So the first thing you want to do is just sketch out your heart, and I'm just going to sketch it out on the left side because I want to write a Valentine's Day greeting on the bottom right. So just try to make your heart as symmetrical as possible, and definitely do it in a pencil so that you can erase any imperfections or redraw it. I don't like how deep this is. Okay, and then we're going to be creating our little gemstone lines. So you can sketch one up here. I kind of made myself a little guide here. So we're going to do another one that's coming from here to here. Another one that's coming up like this on both sides. I'm gonna paint one there. Yeah, I just added the one here. And now what we're going to do is make our pieces a lot less round on the edges. So you're just gonna straighten every single edge while trying to maintain the natural shape of a heart. I am gonna add a little thing here and a line here, just because if I was to just go straight across like this, it wouldn't look as natural. There we go. And then you can just erase the line, like the super rounded part of the heart. So just get rid of all those rounded edges so that you're left with more of a gemstone shaped heart. Sort of like that. So now comes the actual fun part, which is using watercolors to paint here. And the key and the trick, I suppose, is that we are going to use the pencil lines as our guide of where not to paint. So we're going to paint every single little geometric piece in while trying to separate it from the one next to it by a thin white line, and we're just going to use the pencil lines as our guide. Just do be careful that you don't have pencil marks where you don't want them, because they do sometimes show through the watercolor and it's hard to erase them afterwards. I just added a line here because it wasn't geometric, or it wasn't symmetrical there. Okay, so we're going to make this part the darkest because it's supposed to be flat and therefore most visible to the viewer and most, I guess, prominent and intense. So you can use whatever color you want, by the way. I just mixed two colors together. I had sort of a maroon and a magenta color that I mixed together. So here, we're being very careful to leave that white gap. And you want it to be as thin as possible. And you want your pieces to be as straight as possible as well. So now each one of these pieces, these geometric pieces around the main one that we painted, are going to be slightly different shades because we want it to look like a 3D gemstone, I guess, that's reflecting light in different places. And we can achieve this just by watering down that same color. And making sure to leave that thin white gap. And the thing you can do is that in between, in each tile, I guess, I'm just going to call these separate shapes tiles, or shapes interchangeably, but you can make them gradients themselves within one tile. And then that just makes it look like light is reflecting even more. Yeah, so you just want to vary each shape with the amount of pigment that you paint onto it. I've been using the same color here, so that that maroonish color mixed with the magenta. I've just been using that one mixture and to create all these varying shades of that same pigment. I assume you could do the same thing with multiple colors and just use multiple colors across the entire gemstone, but I just thought that it would look more consistent if it was one color that just varies in the degree of intensity. So I'm just going to finish up this painting. I think you get the picture, and then we'll come back when I'm done. Alrighty, so once you've completed and filled out all of the little shapes to make up your heart, the gem portion is finished, and then you can just write in whatever greeting that you would like. So given that this is supposed to be for Valentine's Day, and I want it to go along with obviously the gem theme, I wrote "You're a gem." So always, if you can, write it in pencil first, because you're bound to make a mistake at one point. There we go. And our first card is finished. Obviously, once this is completely dry, you can erase the pencil lines from both in between the heart shapes, or the gem shapes, and in your letters. But other than that, we're finished with this card. So moving on to the second card, I'm just gonna zoom out a bit so you can see the whole thing. You can draw in with pencil what I've drawn in here. I basically just drew a heart, some hands, a head, and legs, and I wrote, "I love you this much." This card is going to be very, very easy. We're just going to fill in the heart with red watercolor, and the rest is going to just have black details. So once you've drawn out this for yourself, you can unpause the video and continue on. So I'm just taking my size 14 brush here, and I'm taking red watercolor. And I'm gonna fill in this heart here, trying to avoid the hands. And I realize they're quite intricate, so it is going to be a wee bit challenging. Having a large brush for this portion is definitely helpful because if you don't have cotton paper, so for example, this piece of paper is not cotton, the watercolor dries pretty quickly, and if you have a larger brush, you can obviously cover much more area and cover the whole thing before it dries and creates, you know, weird blotchy sections. So I just kind of left the hands empty there until I completed the rest of the heart, so that I could avoid the cauliflower effect and the weird blotches and stuff. And now I'm just going to switch to a much finer brush. I'm using a size 1 Winsor & Newton right now, but I would actually go even smaller. This is just the first brush that I saw. It's closest to me. And you just want to outline as best as you can. It's okay if it's not perfect, because we are going to be using a fine tip marker to outline the details of the hand later on. Just try your best to fill in just in between the fingers with red watercolor. I didn't have cotton paper for years. In fact, I started with the cheapest stuff you could get, both in paintbrushes, watercolors. Like I was using the $9 or $10 set from Walmart. It was really cheap, chalky, kind of dollar store quality ones. And I would say, if you have the patience and you're just starting out, learn using the worst of the worst, because when you are given much higher quality stuff, not only do you appreciate it more, but you know at that point you're so skilled at working with really subpar supplies that it really elevates your painting skills just by getting better quality products. But that's just my experience. Anyway, so we want this heart to completely dry before we go on to the rest of the details. So let it dry and then we'll come back. Okay, so now we're just going to be outlining everything with a fine tip black marker, or if you don't have one, a pen works too. So I'm just outlining the head of my little dude, giving him his hairs. his eyeballs. We're going to outline the hands here. So the cuffs. See how outlining it makes it look so much better than what it looked like before? I actually wonder how close this will go. Speaking of, you know, starting with really subpar quality items and learning with those, I used my 4 or 5 year old Motorola phone to film all my tutorials until very recently. And now I'm using an iPhone that I bought just for this purpose. And the fact that I can zoom in and out while filming, and the fact that it can pick up my voice while filming it makes everything so much easier. Oh my goodness. So we're just outlining the legs and the feet here as well. Zoom back out. And now we're just gonna fill in the I love you this much. Oh, this card is so cute. And there we have it. We've got our 2 watercolor Valentine's Day cards. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video because it really helps my channel out, and don't forget to check out some of my other Valentine's Day card tutorials.